Welcome, everybody, to Generation Dan. My name is Jim Steele, and no, I was totally invited. I'm the bridesmaid's cousin's nephew's wife.
Oh, that is fantastic. That
All
is a
right.
great.
I'm Atlas Novak. I am your millennial on this podcast about generational differences. Who else is here with me?
I'm Dino, the genetic marvel, as you can see here. And I honestly, when I first saw the movie Wedding Crashers, I'm like, people do this? Like, are you? I'm like, because if somebody did that at my wedding, I would kill them. I'd be like,
Yeah.
we feast on blood tonight. Like, it would not be.
Yeah. You're like, who the fuck are you? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so you know what? This is gonna sound horrible. My first wedding had 420 people.
Wow.
I knew them all. It was a mess. But at the same time, the second one was 177, I think. And I again knew everybody, but I'm like, unless they were from Victoria's side, then I'm like, I have no idea who these people are. And one guy, I thanked a guy because he drew my poster.
Yeah.
And somebody else on the Chinese side stood up and was like, "You're welcome." And I'm like, "Who is that?"
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. Mick T is already in the audience. Banging the bridesmaid is a tradition in the UK for the best man, unwritten, of course. Hey, what's happening, John? And a good day to you, sir.
I mean,
as well.
I think that's just like a thing because when you think bridesmaid and or not bridesmaid, maid of honor and best man, usually it's like, oh, it's our best couple friends or whatever. Like that's what you see in movies a lot. But I think in real life, it's not. Like, for example, my best person is just my best friend, and then Katie's is her sister-in-law. Like, they're not related to each other. But
so they're definitely going to go into the bathroom and pork one out. No, that's fine.
I didn't need to imagine that, but thank you. That's stuck in my head forever now.
You're welcome.
It's a good thing Katie's family doesn't listen to this show because I would be in so much trouble right now.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's fair.
Had that been the case.
No. Well, they would hold you accountable, right? So
yeah,
that's essentially it. Like, it's a weird day where you're like, hey, everybody come join me for a party to celebrate my nuptials, right? Which is awesome. But then people come to you with problems, and you're like, shut the fuck up! I'm not trying to run a party, man.
Yeah.
Go eat shit. Even like I walked up because there was a day manager, and then like within 2 hours there was a night manager for the party, and the night manager was maybe 5 foot tall, but a stocky little guy. He looked, if you know comic books, the comic book Alpha Flight, Puck. He looked like Puck. That's who he was. All weddings I've been to were mostly family. Yeah, so like growing up, it was family or the Greek community, right? Or Jehovah's Witnesses, either one. And like those are groups that don't have sex before marriage. So it's like marriages were bopping, like, and people were like meeting up, and it was like, hey, maybe I could court you with supervision, like, which is a real thing.
Now for people who haven't read that particular Marvel comic, for people imagining Puck and thinking like, oh, Midsummer Night's Dream, no, like literally a hockey puck with arms and legs,
basically. But he's also awesome. John, me and the bridesmaids found out minutes before disaster that we were related. Like, that's terrifying, right? Like, and in all honesty, like, I have
that's called a Habsburg wedding.
No. Well, you can tell by the chins. You're like, oh, don't go with that one. They've been too far. They've been around the block too much.
Yeah.
But that's like also too. I remember while my first divorce was happening, I fucked off to Greece for vacation stuff, and it was perfect. And all of my cousins were like, "So, are we looking to make a mess? What's going on?" I'm like, no. We haven't even signed papers for the divorce, so I'm just here for vacation. And then suddenly women would just show up who had been vetted and know my aunts and uncles really well, and they come from a good family and have a good job, and all their papers are in order. And I'm like, you guys are not nice people, okay? And it was like, the funny part was that this is a small village, right? Like, now it's got like 6,000 people, but back then it was probably around 2,000. So it was like, oh, you're from Canada. And they was like, come a little closer. They're like, oh, you're a financial planner, a little bit closer. Oh, you're recently divorced. And it was like the trifecta of weakness. And I'm like, I will fight for my honor. It was great.
That was that had the chance to be very creepy, and that
was super creepy. Things were just about to get to the let's find a quiet place. Yeah. Oh, bro.
Damn. I wonder if any of that's going to happen at my wedding. You're about to go to one as a guest today, right?
Which like I'm going with my wife, so I can't have sex with anyone else. That's frowned upon in marriage.
I feel like even if you weren't going with your wife,
probably
no.
Yeah. No, well, I don't get that. Like I hit like puberty and I was like, well, I'll be alone, but I'm big and scary. That's good enough for me. Right. Mm-hmm. And then I got married, which I'm like, well, this is weird. Sex is fun. And then divorced, and I'm like, I knew it. I was gonna be alone for the rest of my life. And then Victoria came along, and we've been together for coming up on 16. Well, no, we just passed 15 years, which is maybe 16 years. February was 16. Let's say that. And so it's like, I don't like, I'm not good at making moves or anything. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. So even if someone did try and come up to me, I'd be like, cool, high five. Like, it's not, I don't have any, like, I've seen, recently I saw Cole try and drop game, and it was horrifically bad, because it was like, he dropped game and then was like, oh, I don't want to drop game. And he's really funny because it's so, like, men are the worst, right? Like, we will immediately be like, I'll sacrifice everything I have for you because I love you. And you're like, do you know her name? She's like, she doesn't need a name. She's just beautiful. And you're like, that's dumb, dummy. Like, that's not how life works. That's the assumption that you were going to go off to war and die, not come back and go, now we're stuck. We gotta, what's your name? Like, it's not.
Is the drop game on the same person that I'm thinking of?
Probably.
That starts about a certain flower. Or
hilarious. Both of them spitting game, and it like them both having shield up was hilarious.
Oh, so they were both like, I'm kind of into this, but what if something happens about each other?
Maybe, like, I know, right? I'm not some sort of wizard of Punani, as the men say, but
don't look at me.
No, but that's the thing, right? Like, I am always under the impression that I'm like, oh, you're afraid of somebody, you've come to me for help. Like, this is not like, I've had women approach me and they're like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And I'm like, are you in danger? Is that why you're talking to me? Because I don't understand why. And she's like, no, you just looked interesting. And I'm like, interesting murderer? Are you police? You have to tell me if you're police. This is entrapment. You can't do that. Little things like that where, and now, like, I do a whole bit about it where I'm just like, people will just walk up to me and start talking. And I'm like, absolutely not. Just absolutely not. Like, what are you thinking? You know, like, that's insane.
Who is this for? What are you on about?
Who, me? Oh,
no. I mean, like, you're saying that to them. Yeah.
Yeah. I start looking around and being like, are you in danger? What's going on here? Like, what's happening? Because, you know, that's hilarious. But like, I can only imagine, John, how brutal that would be. Especially, there's a scene of that in a biker gang show. Is quite good. Starts with an S, I believe. Yeah. And they go to Ireland, and sure enough, things are about to, I have stumbled accidentally to 90% of all relationships have been. Yeah, I guess
when a man friend zones the girl, something strange happens with the girl's brain chemistry.
Oh, they lose their mind. They lose their absolute mind, because as soon as you friend zone a girl, and she hasn't already friend zoned you, they get so angry. There it goes. So it's like wedding. Yeah.
So
not mine.
Dino's going to a friend's wedding, and then we're talking about like the type of shenanigans you could get into, because like the next wedding I'm going to is going to be mine, which you can't really get into shenanigans. All eyes are on you.
Not in a good way.
Not in a good way. No. So I'm curious. I know which show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget the name, but yeah. It's but see, that's the thing though, is like there's also shenanigans that you can have as the bride and groom on everybody. So I was at a wedding where they were like introducing the bride and groom for the first time as Mr. and Mrs. And everyone's looking at the door to the banquet hall.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there were two, like, I guess, loading doors that were right beside the head table.
Yeah.
and it had like a ramp going up to it. So those doors open, and all of a sudden their limo drove in, and they got out of the car on the dance floor, and you're like, that's super cool, right?
That's fucking cool. Yeah, but like that's something you have to do together, and like
it happened on the fly. It happened,
really?
It was my brother who was in the wedding party. He was like, "Hey, do those open?" And they were like, "Yeah." Like, does it have a ramp? He's like, "Yep." And they're like, "Will it fit a limo?" And they're like, "Can't turn. You just go straight and then straight back out." We're like, "That's good enough. No problem." So, yeah, it worked. Like that kind of stuff. And then like, I have carried somebody down the aisle as a groomsman, which was fun because I'm pretty sure everybody saw our underwear.
Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man.
Like it'd be funny if all of a sudden everyone starts flashing and they're like, "Oh God!" Like it's a feeding frenzy, like that.
Flashing blue.
Yeah. We're all just we're all on it for the meal. But yeah, like that was always weird. Like I didn't like that's the advantage I have is like I can pick up a woman, no problem. I can pick up most men, but not like nobody over 5'10". That's danger zone for my brittle back. But
danger zone.
I don't know. Like the idea that people are like, number one, there's always a big coat room, which I'm like, okay. And I did see someone sneak into the bridal bathroom and then lock the bride out, which I was like,
oh shit,
those aren't good. Those aren't good friends. Those are, and also too, like in there was like their money box and stuff like that.
Oh, that's a big fucking deal. That's
yeah. Well, you know, it's one of those things where you're going, yeah, you're like, it's the whole idea is it's to celebrate someone else's nuptials, not to get your freak on. But like at the same time, party. Hey.
Yeah. Like so, I mean, like people are gonna do what they're gonna do. I don't think I think the only shenanigans that are gonna happen, at least from my side of the family, is that someone's gonna get in an argument. I don't think my family isn't really the like mischievous type. Unfortunately, I would love for them to be the mischievous type, but
that may be how they'll get you this time.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it's a plan that's been working. Maybe it's your mom and dad have reached out because they had a plan. They had a plan to bamboozle you at your wedding. So I'm safe at 6'4" then. Like, I may come on to you, but can't carry you away without your consent.
No giants, shenanigans, unfortunately.
Well, that's always like the best part about the wedding was like I found at a fairly early age that I was like, can you guys turn the music down? I'd rather just talk with my friends. And I'm like, I don't like. And then just because people were like, no, people want to dance. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm bigger than them. They can go to hell, right? But
yeah, I mean, if that's how you want it to be, from getting picked up. Yeah, got it, John. But I kind of want to do something. Just something little, just for a little like screwball on my family, because like one of the things I'm most excited about is that this is one giant crossover episode for my entire life.
Yes, which is terrifying. It is. That has a lot of anxiety wrapped up into it, and it really shouldn't. It really like. Are they meeting before that at any point in time, like the rehearsal dinner?
Some have, some haven't, and yeah, a good chunk of them will meet at the rehearsal dinner. But like, for example, so the wedding shower was where a lot of my family and Katie's family met. So mom, sister, both parents got to meet Katie, her parents, her siblings, and all her cousins.
Yeah.
But other stuff were like friends of mine who haven't even met Katie are going to meet Katie.
Yeah. I haven't met Katie, but she doesn't like me, which is fair to her point. That's reasonable. I mean, if anything, she's a good judge of character. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, like it's literally just because of this show. I don't think if she didn't like you that much, she wouldn't let me invite you to the wedding. But she is. So I think.
Well, she also wants to see the freak. She's like, hey, there's this giant who's now got like flying squirrel skin. I'm like, oh, maybe.
There's that, and then I think she thinks that Victoria is enough of a stabilizing influence that.
Oh,
that'll work out.
well then, shock them with a fake gay lover professing at your ceremony. That is always a winner, because it shows you're inclusive but committed.
I already have a gay guy doing our officiating the wedding. It's my good friend and previous guest of this show, Paul Jasek.
Hey, there you go.
Is officiating the wedding.
Also, too, most officiants, they're a little bit.
Could be. He's not like I don't think he's an ordained minister. I think he just got.
Yeah, that's fine.
Got the
at least it'll be entertaining.
Yeah, like I wanted a comedian friend to do the wedding in the first place, and because Mary and Paul have been so good to me,
makes sense,
and have been nice mentor figures. Sure. Yeah, definitely,
it makes sense. It's a reasonable thing, and that's the thing is like, it's one of those situations where the best advice I ever got was on the day of, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
things go wrong. Just things go wrong. Don't worry about it. You know why? Because all it's going to do is ruin your day, and it starts and is over in a flash, right?
Yeah.
So it's very much one of those things where, like, if somebody starts giving you shit, like, so I was talking about the night manager. I walked up to him and I go, listen. He goes, so how do you want to play this? I go, because do you have an MC that you want me to talk to? I go, no. I'm the master of ceremonies. So you don't talk to Victoria. If anything, make sure it doesn't even touch Victoria's site. You come directly to me and I'll handle it. It's very simple. And he goes, done. And sure enough, something did come up. And then I walked outside to handle it and they were already across the street. I'm like, if they're across the street, is it our liability? He's like, nope. And I'm like, nice. And like back inside. So
yeah, it's like so at my sister's wedding back in August, I was one of the, like, it was me, my mom, my cousin, and Brian, her husband, his two sisters were the people who like married them. It was like we took a portion of the ceremony and like read something and blah blah blah.
Sure.
And I am good at this kind of stuff, so went pretty well.
Yeah.
And then afterward, during the reception, when they were doing toast, they're like, "Why didn't Atlas do a toast?" And I was like, "Because I did the ceremony. Leave the toast to, Lucifer and all them." Sorry, they have a friend named Lucian, and I call him Lucifer because why not?
Because that's exactly what his name is. And he's like, no.
Yeah, no,
Lucian.
It's Lucifer forever, as long as I know him.
Yeah. Come on, let's not play that.
So, yeah.
I would admit, like, that's another thing. Like, a lot of people are like, "Hey, I'd love to do a speech," and I'm like, "That's good because you're not going to." They're like, "Can't I?" I'm like, "No. Why would I do that? You're a horrible public speaker." And they're like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "Yes, you are. Absolutely horrible. Like, this is no." And I had other people who were like, "Hey, can I do this?" And I'm like, "No. You could do it at your wedding." They're like, "Oh, come on, it'll be really funny." I'm like,
"Yeah."
I'm paying
like
for
a couple
it.
of people got on my case about like, why weren't you fighting for it or whatever? I'm like, because it's not my wedding. I'm just happy they gave me a thing in the ceremony. And yeah, it would have been cool to do a toast. Would have loved to roast my sister, but
sure,
just not do that and let them have the wedding thing. Now, granted, at my wedding, I would love to roast the entire wedding, but
you can. Yeah. There's nothing wrong. Like, that's the best part is they're stuck there and you already paid for dinner. So
yeah,
if they leave, that's on them. They've already put their envelopes in.
I know.
So
and I can't get drunk. So
yeah, well, yeah, there's that. So that was another thing. Tonight I was planning on drinking at this wedding just because Victoria doesn't drink, so I'd have a DD, so it'd be fine. But then I'm like, I have yet to throw up at a wedding. I've always thrown up like at home, because I'm definitely Captain Too Far. There's no question there. But I'm like, I'm not okay doing that. As
episode title right there. I'm writing that down.
That's totally reasonable.
Fantastic. Captain Too Far.
That's fine. I'm known to others is that you're like, you always go too far. I'm like, that's true. Because the thing is, I do it so everyone can see it, and I'm like, later, and I walk away. It's like, deal with that problem, have fun.
Mhm.
So yeah, but it's so I'm probably just gonna have like 1 or 2 drinks and then yeah.
I love the idea of like, because for those who haven't figured it out yet, Dino's a little under the weather and
Yeah.
is still going to this wedding. So I love the idea of like, you go to this wedding, you have 1 drink, and then you have to vomit by being sick, not from the alcohol. So like, you're in the bathroom door like, this isn't from the booze. Blah, I swear to God.
Well,
Blah.
yeah, that's also my concern. And I'm like, the worst part was I didn't even sleep last night. Well, like I slept like 3 hours, which I'm like, man, if it could go wrong today, it's going wrong. So yeah, fun times. That's why, like, in all honesty, I remember because my brain works in a way where I immediately go to what are the things that can go wrong, right? So and then I use logic and reason to come back to what makes sense. Like, oh, my wife's she's probably dead. No, maybe there's just traffic. Simple, that's just a fair rational thing. But at the same time, it's one of those where like Victoria was like, oh, let's do this. Like, she wanted to spend money on tablecloths and cutlery, and I'm like, have you ever or known anyone to leave and tell you about a wedding, be like, you should have seen their cutlery and their tablecloth. Oh my God. No. And she goes, no, of course not. Like, of course not. That's insane. Right?
I think the only time people talk about that is if it's incredibly awful or gaudy.
Yeah.
You can't be impressed into remembering the tablecloths or cutlery, but you can be disgusted into remembering it, I think.
Definitely. It's one of those things where like I was like, I have no problem paying extra for extra food, extra this, extra that, no problem. But like having had the experience of going to it, like having been in a wedding before, I was like, nobody cared about that, right? And like it's just something that you have to work around. Sorry, I'm like slowly fading, but
it's okay.
One of those things. But yeah, look. What? So also too, Katie being very particular about what how she's planned out this wedding. Do you think it is? I think it might be a horrible idea for you to be the surprise guy, whereas you could let somebody else do it, right?
Yeah, my inner prankster is conflicted with the, do I want this held over my head for the rest of my life?
Well, that's a good question. It's a good question. That's like one of those things where like if you want to prank someone good immediately, Carrie. That's the best prank. It's a great prank, but Carrie? Also, yeah, like the stand on stage, blood falls on you, like the movie.
Like the movie Carrie. Got it. Yeah,
and that is, you're definitely getting a divorce. That's just immediately.
This is my parameter for a good prank. Something that is easily fixed and doesn't ruin the person's entire day, but like affects them enough in the moment where they're just like, God damn it, afterwards. So like a lot of gym pranks on The Office are good examples of this, right? Yes. Putting your stapler in Jell-O, you can just pull it out. That sort of stuff. Yes, some of them are pretty messed up, like the moving his desk into the bathroom and then making one in wrapping paper, and then he like tries to sit down on it, and like because he'd have to go get his desk and drag it back in, and like, which is entertaining as hell, but at the same time, like I'm the same way. I'm like, you should never prank someone. Like we picked up a guy's car and turned it sideways in his driveway. Yeah, because it was a 2-car driveway, and so you can't get out. Well, he has to like 70-point turn, which is hilarious. But then he came over. He's like, "You guys popped my tire." You're like, "No, he didn't. That's rude. We would not do that. We did turn it sideways though, because fuck you." Oh, to Ring in October, there's a spooky vampire story of mine that got narrated. Oh, get lost. But yeah, drop the link. Absolutely. Yeah, go for it. Well, if I remember to, I'll put it in the description of. Please do. The YouTube version. Yeah, absolutely. That's John, you're still a moderator, so by all means, it should be no problem. But yeah, like you definitely want to make sure that it's something that Katie will appreciate. Otherwise, that's gonna
that's going to be the end of Atlas's marriage, and that's just because she'll also beat him up.
Yeah, she would.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, probably a no-go, but I can fantasize. What's if you were in that sort of position, what prank would you do at a wedding?
Like
either as the guest or as
a guest, like there's a lot of hilarious stuff that you can do. So like I would even put like, remember those Hallmark had them for a time where you would it was like a butterfly, but you would twist it with elastics and then it would shoot up into the air as soon as you open the card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or it was like spring loaded, right?
No, it was an elastic. So you just twist it and then you put it inside the card, close the card, and then as soon as you open the card, it goes and it's just unspinning, right? So I would put that like on random plates underneath like random people. No one old.
Yeah.
Just in case. Or like, are you giving away your centerpieces? Thanks, John.
I think so. I'm not sure though.
Click the link, guys, and watch John's cool story. Yeah, it's tricky. You have kids at the thing, right?
Yep.
Helium balloons, always fun.
What, just for the?
Just give it to all the kids, and then watch them all knock each other out because they'll inhale too much and then they can't breathe, and it's fine.
Or they don't get it because the oldest one. Okay, assuming my half siblings come, oldest one will be 12. If not, because I don't know how it's going to work out with my, stepmom and whatnot. If not, then the oldest one's going to be 8. So you have a difference in understanding of the world.
Fair point. Fair point. Then just put it at the oldest people's, just to mess with them.
The balloons?
Yeah. And have them be like, feel free to document. Like, also, you want to have a hashtag.
Yeah, we have that, like an Instagram hashtag.
Yeah, you should, realistically. You could definitely do that.
I shit my pants.
That's a good one.
That's I mean,
hashtag I shit my pants. That's fair. Yeah. It's a
God, it never stops being fun for you.
It's really, you know what? Like, I feel bad, but like not really. Because at the same time, it's not like I'm like, Atlas shit his pants. That would be mean, right? Whereas you're like, I just shit my pants. And that's funny. I was looking for the one where who was it? In Colorado. My memory has been going
the one in Colorado. Cole or not Cole.
Starts with a C still.
Caleb.
Yeah. When Caleb, I did a short where he's like, the poop has arrived and then ran away, which I'm like, that's a good.
Oh yeah, what happened to that? I remember that.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't seem to find it. I used to be organized with stuff, and then I was like, this is just too much stuff, and then I just stopped being organized. So.
Oh, did you like delete random stuff, and then that probably?
No, I just.
I miss Caleb. I hope he's doing okay wherever he is.
I message him every once in a while. I'm like, hey, how you doing? He's like, I'm good. Nice to hear from you. I'm like, glad you're doing okay. Like, that's the thing is sometimes like that's the best part is like, how much time are you investing in your seating plan? Let's put it that
way. So Katie's family is pretty chill when it comes to familial issues with each other. Mine is not. So I have to try and
keep it separate,
seat it properly where they don't run into each other. Now, granted, as of late, a lot of the tension has cooled in one way or another. Where between my cousin and my mom, since Phoebe's wedding, my sister, they pretty much worked it out.
Good.
With my mom and my dad, at the very least, they can be in the same room as each other without throwing hands.
Look, and that's one of the things is you're a fucking adult.
Yeah.
Like, don't like that's one thing that I always got really when people are like, oh, you can't see those two people together. I'm like, I can, and I'll go and say hi to them. Be like, I sat you guys together. You know why? Because you're adults. Fucking grow up.
Yeah.
And they're like, and I'm like,
so there's that. There's
we lost signal for a little bit.
Oh,
I think we're back.
Lost signal. Weird.
Yeah, happens. I'm losing signal right now.
Oh. There's that, and then the main thing I'm worried about is if my stepmom comes or not. I hope she doesn't, because my mom hates her with good reason. My cousin hates her also with good reason.
Sure.
I don't like her very much either. But at the same time, I want my half siblings to be there, which are her children. So kind of makes that a little bit of a hard sell. I went into a building.
Yeah.
Oh, he lost a signal.
Yeah.
Not we did.
That will happen. You missed all the shenanigans. Atlas took a shirt off, shot a guy.
Yeah. I shat my pants again.
But that's the one thing. Like I've had people be like, "Hey, can you make sure?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Just if you don't like it, don't come." Like, so I got this was actually pretty funny. Was that when we were picking food, okay, I said our options are steak, chicken, and fish. And they were like, what about a vegetarian option? I'm like, they can get the steak. And they were like, oh, but shouldn't they? And I'm like, do I get a discount if they get the vegetarian? She goes, no. I'm like, then no. Then they'll order the steak and they can have the vegetables. That's fine. Or they can eat beforehand. That is their commitment, and I welcome it. The funny thing was that nobody cared. Except for, so we invited this girl who actually would probably be at the wedding. She asked to bring her on again, off again boyfriend, which I'm like, all right, fine.
Okay.
And then he was like, hey, so we changed her to +1, no problem. And then he's like, hey, there are no vegetarian options. And I'm like, that's correct. Order the steak. And so Victoria started to be like, oh, you're being unreasonable. I'm like, hey, listen, do you understand that you're arguing on behalf of a stranger who isn't actually invited to our wedding for their stand against your husband? Do you understand how ridiculous that is? And she just went, oh, yeah, that's fair. Okay, fuck him. I'm like, there you go. Done.
Yeah. Simple. I mean, like, the vegetarian option at our venue was just like included, where they were like, all right, you got to pick 2 things, and then we also have a vegetarian that's just like happening. We're like, all right, cool.
I would bring in a skid of grass and be like, that's the vegetarian section. You can sit there. You don't get chairs.
Like, Mother Earth. I don't think we would have fought for it if it wasn't already there. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, all right, it's already happening. Might as well just whatever.
Yeah.
But it was it's the steak and the fish. Now, I've told this story before, but to have my, like, assuming my mom is going to want the fish, and then because she spends like every waking moment at Santa Monica Seafood, and then she ends up picking the vegetarian option, I was like, motherfucker. But enough people have ordered the salmon where it's like, all right, it's not a big deal. It's fine.
Damn, I gotta respond to your thing. You want to hear something hilarious? Is the wedding that I'm going to today, I just got the invitation last week. So, and I'm like,
you're fucking welcome. All right. Yeah. We were sending this 6 months in advance to get your shit together. Hey, man, now, granted, this wedding is like near you, right?
Yeah. It's actually at the same venue that I got married at.
So, nice.
Yeah, pretty simple. But
I just love the idea of you walking around being like, I'm back, baby. And people are like, who are you? It's like, I was here 15 years ago. Woo!
That is literally, so he asked me to come with him when he went to go see the place and talk with him and negotiate. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I came in and I was like, oh yeah, I got married here, but I was twice the size. And they're like, she's like, I'm like, white tuxedo. She goes, Fat James Bond. And I'm like, that's the joke. Because I sent a picture out to black suit or white suit. And I go, do I go traditional or Fat James Bond? And everyone's like, Fat James Bond. And I'm like, all right. And it ended up looking great. So
that's so funny. I love that.
I look like Fat James Bond. I was like, my concern is if I lean over, someone's going to think I'm one of the cocktail tables. And she was just like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, I'm very large. So not a full, like, a guest table for dinner, but a cocktail table for sure. Like, that's definitely, But
like, see, I'm in purple, which makes people are probably going to think I'm like, I don't know.
The Joker?
Yeah, probably.
Just
What's
don't
in
do
a
anything.
man, Batman? Yeah.
Oh, you could have a speech that's full with puns, and then when people start laughing, be like, I don't get it. Why is this funny? And like try and make it as stone faced as possible.
I'll try and go as like straight as possible while just like fucking dropping.
Yeah.
The thing is, I have trouble keeping a straight face just in general, but I feel like if I rehearsed it enough, I can make it happen.
You can always give your best man a wedgie. Fish spaghetti.
Fish spaghetti. Gross. It's like noodles. Noodles made out of fish. There's chicken bits in there. Gross.
That is horrific. And,
see, I love the idea of.
I want to try it.
Of course you do.
Yeah. Well,
the fatness never dies within us.
It really never does. Like that's like I haven't eaten since yesterday noon, and I'm saving it for the wedding, but at the same time, I'm like, I just want food. But
dude, I have been craving. Like I was in a shitty mood all week.
Yeah.
I was snapping at people.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, oh, I got a poke bowl for lunch. And I was like, I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's going on? Sorry, I'm on keto. Because like
I just started. You know what? And the problem is, if you tell them I just started keto, they're gonna want to talk to you. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You say, oh, I'm just adjusting my diet for health reasons. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, are you okay? I'm like, oh yeah, I don't need to, but we're experimenting.
Yeah.
And that way they can kind of just fuck off because nobody wants to ask about something that's health related.
Yeah, that's true.
Because as soon as you say keto, they're like, we're keto buddies, and you're like, gross. Yeah.
Nope. Because I don't want to do it for. I'm not doing it for the weight reasons. Although I have lost 6 pounds. So
hey,
nice.
Good for you, buddy. Good for you.
Want to see a magic trick? I'm gonna make my life savings disappear.
Yeah, that's also accurate. The guy whose wedding I'm going to tonight, he used to be, so he's about 5'5", 5'6" maybe. Mm-hmm. And he was about 213, and he was like, oh, I'm having trouble losing weight. I'm like, do what I do. He's like, I can't do that. I'm like, yes, you can. Just try. Don't be a puss. And sure enough, he went down to because he works out all the time, but he wasn't dropping weight. Right. So
I think if you want to act like outright lose weight, it's more about diet, not exercise. If you want to
Definitely.
get in shape, exercise.
Yeah. Throws a nickel. There you go. That's top tier stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing, right? Is that he's lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
For the wedding, like within 2.5 months. And then I'm like, we started about 3 months ago, and the last like 3 weeks or so, or the month of September really, was more so just maintain it. That's all you got to do. Is just bounce around, maintain it. So and that's the thing is like with keto, it's a little bit like a cult. So you don't want that. That's
no.
You're also in LA, which is like lots of cults. So
it's like it's like cults bumping into each other.
Wow, yeah. And then people are like, the worst part is people will be like, aren't you doing keto? You can't eat that.
Yeah.
And then you just punch them right in the face.
I don't know how long this is gonna last me for before I go insane or my goal is to just get to Halloween where Halloween will take care of it on its own. Like you can't not do Halloween.
You can bob for apples.
Actually, no, you can't. Apples are not keto friendly. See how annoying that is?
That's ridiculous. So just so you understand, so somebody was telling me they went on a diet for health reasons because they're having problems with their digestion. Mm-hmm. And the doctor's like, you can't have onion or garlic. And I'm like, what kind of crackhead are you dealing with? Because the idea that an apple you can't eat, that's insane. The idea that, like, in all honesty, Alice, you'll find that if you eat an apple, your sugar cravings tend to be a lot more manageable. Mm-hmm. An apple, banana, orange, like anything like that. But you have to make sure you eat it with you have to eat the banana with the wrapping. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? No, it's like because you have to be under 30 net carbs, which is any carbs, and you subtract carbs of fiber.
Yeah, but as long as it's an apple, it's got fiber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like you can eat an apple, but like it takes up a lot of room. For that day or whatever.
Or you can have a Granny Smith, and then it's not happy for you at all.
That's true. Ooh, can we stop at the grocery store? I want a Granny Smith apple.
Oh, That's when you're like, oh, that's a murderer.
No,
sure.
the Honey Crisp. That's the goat, I think.
The Honey Crisp. So did you know that the Honey Crisp is the tree is super fragile, so they actually have to like hold it up, otherwise they'll just fall before it ripens.
Wow.
Because it's a hybrid, an experiment. It's a whole big thing, and they're like, so there's not enough crop of it, and then on top of that, they're like, it's also just falls randomly because fuck your tree, you know.
I just like to imagine like it's like an apple orchard and they have like Jeff the intern who has to stand out there holding the tree up.
Yeah.
If gaining weight required math, it'd be so thin.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's
now on the plus side, I can eat a fuck ton of like fat and protein. I have eaten so much bacon and eggs.
Yeah.
So should be interesting. And I just like want to see how far I can get before I lose my shit. So
you'd be surprised. So you adapt very quickly. What you will find though is that your moods are very susceptible to change depending on what you eat, which is
interesting.
Very interesting. And also too, like this is something that I've been reading up on, and just a side note is a prank you could pull. Be like, don't worry, everyone. I've changed the meals. Everyone's eating vegetarian tonight. And just watch everyone go, what the fuck? And I'm just kidding. It's fine.
I think another fun one is me being 6 foot is saying I'm shorter than I am. So fucking funny. When you're around tall dudes and like if it comes up in conversation, be like, what? I'm 5'9". They're like, what? Wait, no. And then like, it's great. Watch people panic. Yeah.
But like, this is one thing that I've been thinking about is that a lot of people are acting crazy these days, and a lot of people are extremely overweight. Because remember, there's like right now, I'm like 1 block away from just being overweight instead of obese. I'm like on the chart. Yeah. I'm like 1 block.
The
BMI. It's just retarded. It's just not a real thing, but
it's stupid. But like I also, when you said 1 block away, I thought you were being like cutesy, like literally like a city block.
Oh no.
No, like literally 1 BMI thingy away. Okay.
But that's the thing is like the amount of emotional stability losing 240 pounds has given me is interesting. Like I'm still nuts. Right? Like, let's be very clear. But at the same time, I'm much less prone to outbursts, and I'm trying to read to become a better person, which I don't know. Learning how to read.
I've gotten more mercurial, more volatile as
that's sugar.
As this diet continues. Now, granted, it's only been as of tomorrow a week.
Yeah, that's like so. Yeah. If I had too much sugar, it takes me about 3 days to be okay.
To detox. You know,
yeah, and then I'm okay.
I'm definitely not going to be doing keto when my wedding comes because fuck you. No, it is a party. I am doing that.
Sorry, my wife had to go.
Holidays, Christmas. Like, I think you can do keto over Thanksgiving. Just don't do the pie, I think. Right?
Oh,
no potatoes. Yeah, fuck keto on Thanksgiving.
Hey, but potatoes aren't that bad for you, especially if you rinse the potatoes. Like if you just buy fries, you're fine.
Oh no. Potatoes are really good for you, and it's part of the reason that like before the Irish potato famine, there's all these writings in like Victorian era, like England and the US, where it's like Irish peasants are kind of sexy, you guys. And like their hair is thick and full, and it's because they like their diet was mostly potatoes.
But that's why like the problem is that the amount of starch that's in a potato is brutal on your body, right? So if you rinse your if you cut them up for fries, rinse them and then pat them dry and throw them in an air fryer, like
love me an air fryer.
Cole just got when he stole it from his mom. So I'm like, we're trying to think of recipes to do it. I'm gonna try and make him cook a steak in it. He's like, fuck you. And I'm like,
hard boiling eggs in there. Well, like A, for the diet and B, just because I like hard boiled eggs, it's so much easier than having to be like, all right, so you very carefully put it in the boiling water. I set a timer. Yeah. Like, no, fuck you. I'm setting the thing on the air fryer and I'm walking away until it's done.
I'm lucky. My wife loves me, so I just go, "Hey, honey, can I have 2 boiled eggs?" She's like, "Yes, fine." I'm like, "Oh."
I mean, so
Yeah.
Katie does too, but it's like
Not yet, not contractually. Okay. That's
not yet.
that's what she's like, I have musings of love, which is
Yeah.
great. And then
I
when it's
cannot
contractual,
wait for that to be done. Not just because of the she has to contractually love me thing, but
yeah.
also I am sick of saying my fiance
Oh, it's a horrible word.
because that episode of Seinfeld where they're at the party and there's the annoying woman who's like, "Where's my fiance? I've lost my fiance." And then
Have you met my fiance?
yeah, and then Elaine's like, "Maybe the dingo ate your baby or whatever the thing is," right? So
Elaine was a warning to all of us. She was mean as fuck. Okay, let's be very clear. And
yeah.
when she turned, like when she grabbed George's hair and threw it out the window, I'm like, "You're a monster, lady."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "You can't get mad at somebody else being bald when you're bald." I'm like, "Yes, you can. That's totally legit." Especially now. I'm like, I'm doing a joke on stage where I'm like, my father left me an island. It's got a lot of beachfront property, year-round access. I keep it right here on my forehead. Right there. That's perfect. You know?
Or you want a Christmas card? You want a Christmas card? And then like shove your face in her boobs.
Yeah. She's just a mean person, but we should have known. We should have known. But
I found this YouTube channel, and it's like these are from like almost 20 years ago now, because that's how old YouTube is. Feel old. But it's they're taking like scenes from Seinfeld and then they're animating them in like pencil drawing almost.
Okay.
And it's not always the scene one-to-one. It like if they're telling them a story, like you remember when Kramer is talking about like finding the severed toe, and then where like the animation is showing exactly him in the story. Or like the thing where it's George talking about being, getting the doll fall out of the whale.
Which is a great story.
In the animation, he's in a rocking chair, and the other three are like in pajamas in bed, going listening to it. It's great.
Sure.
I'll send one to you after. But like,
please do.
Yeah. Lane's kind of a shit person for sure.
Yeah, she's a horrible person.
But yeah.
That's the worst part is she reminds me a lot of my sister, both in looks and hairstyle and all that, and also being a mean ass person. And I'm like, here we go.
Well, that's a problem.
Listen, that's okay. She can do what she's doing. I don't care. That's fine. She's a missionary somewhere, and I'm like, all right, whatever. She came home. She came home when my brother died, and she looked old as shit. And I'm like, why do you look so old? She's like, because I'm 50. I'm like, ooh, you are old. Gross.
Yeah.
We don't have a great relationship. I'll tell you that. So,
I just love the idea of you being like, "Yo, why do you look so old?" Like just to their face. Like
I do that. Yeah. I'm like, ooh, like that's I'm. See, this is the thing: is having written comedy and having performed comedy. Both of us want things to be funny, but at the same time, we both know that some people have zero patience for shenanigans.
Yeah.
Right, or humor in general, right? Like it's one of those things where you're just kind of going, this might blow up in my face, but it might be worth it. Tough one, tough call, right? But it's the same thing like going on stage and telling everybody that you're already married and we took your money, no takebacks, and then watching people go, "What the fuck?" That's hilarious. But it's one of those things, right? Definitely. Well, you know what? We've figured out, as per Mick's instructions, don't have sex with anyone else at the wedding. That is a bad prank.
Good to know.
Other people can do it. Don't do.
Promise I won't.
Yeah.
Have you ever had sex in public? I never have.
In the back of a car.
Oh, that counts.
I don't know.
Because I've done it in the back of a car, but never in public, like in a broom closet or something.
Yeah. Thanks, man. So it depends if you have tinted windows and is it a busy road? Those are two things. Like, are you parked? Like, there's a video of some guy like hitting a car or like banging on the window, be like, "Hey, you guys got to move." And apparently, John is Mr. Player and out of here banging chicks. He's just walking into random weddings and banging women. Nice, John. He's like, "I'm 6'4", all the bitches love me." That's fair. That's it's a reasonable thing. But it's got to be uncomfortable. And I feel like I do my best work on my back. Let's just start there. So the idea of, oh, you're going to stand up. I'm like, listen, I was 500 pounds. I was not standing up to do anything. I didn't stand up to pee. I didn't stand up to do anything. Okay. So that's, I barely kissed my wife standing up. It's just, I can't. I'm very fat. So, but realistically, it's definitely one of those things. I would have a few disposable cameras, but not on every table. And then tell them that they have to share, and just let them.
Should be a good time. I mean, what'll probably happen is be like, oh, there's not. Okay, well, I have my phone, so like, I feel like that would have worked better in like 1997 than now.
But having a disposable cameras still exist. Still exist, right? Yeah. So the disposable camera is the idea that you're going to have a real photo. I'll tell you right now. Okay, I have 2 digital photo albums of our wedding. The only time I look at them is to show them pictures of Fat James Bond or how beautiful my wife looks. That's it. Like, aside from that, I'm like, it's like there's a lot, but at the same time, I'm like, it's a ridiculous amount of work. Whereas having a disposable camera, it kind of forces you to have memories, impromptu memories, candid memories, and physical actual pictures. And it's not a bad idea. Not really a prank. It would be funnier though if you don't give everyone one and then just be like, yeah, you guys got to share. Fuck you, right? And then you have some, like, I would always take the digital camera or the disposable camera, wind it, and then take a picture of the inside of my mouth.
Why?
Just to be a dick.
Okay.
Then when people are like, hey, can you take a picture? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I would turn it, take a picture of my face, go, good. And then I take a real picture. Oh, okay. And then every once in a while, I open my pants and go, and they're like, don't. I'm like, you never know. Or even you can have envelopes. Like if you really want to go elaborate, you could have like a secret envelope underneath everyone's plate and be like, well, everyone, there's a surprise under. I want you guys to open it.
And then you just open it, and then it's the butterfly doing the thing.
Could be the butterfly, or just like, thanks for coming. And that's,
it's
instead of somebody, like, people will freak out and they'll be like, oh, there's the drama. And you're like, no, just want to say thank you.
Yeah, the people who want the drama, right?
Oh, there's so
to
many
say
people.
My family wants the drama. All right, so I 25 mind-blowing sex spots you never thought to try. I mean, we probably did, but thanks, Listicle.
Like the armpit, or
Ferris wheel.
That thing comes back down real fast. That's
Nightclub or concert? No. Movie theater? I guess maybe.
You probably get a handy.
Yeah. Public transit? Meh.
Absolutely not. Yeah. There's more than enough wieners exposed on public transit.
People ride on that thing. God damn it! In the backyard. That's not public. That's your house.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see. The hood of a car.
Oh, absolutely not.
Kitchen counter. Again, not public. This is your house.
Yeah. It's adventurous. I'll give you that, but not really.
On the washing machine during the spin cycle.
That's a gift for her. That's a gift. That's an anniversary one. You get. You're welcome.
In your childhood bedroom, guys. These are not in public.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more the proximity to. Hey, what are you guys doing? That's more right. Like banging in your childhood bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weird one. That's just.
There's a great SNL sketch from back when Jimmy Fallon was on it, and it's called "Let's Do It in My Twin Bed," and it's great. I'll send that to you too. But like,
that's a horrible.
Say what's up to my cousins. Say what's up to my parents. Then take my man to my childhood bedroom.
It's much worse if you. It's horrible.
On a boat, sure. Lonely Island did it first, though. In a dressing room, okay, that's fair. Maybe.
If it's got a lock, veto. It doesn't count, right? You have to be or shared. If it's shared, also fun.
Yeah. At the office, okay.
I feel like that's foolish, though, right? Like a dressing room, sure. At the office, you're like, what are you, George Costanza? You're like, that's not. Yeah. You're definitely getting fired for that shit. So
elevator. Only if it's stopped, right?
Yeah,
if it's like stuck between floors or something.
Yeah, but like honestly, I wouldn't even know how to approach the big. Hey, anyone interested in touching my wiener while we're here? No.
I think it's more if you and your wife are like, you're going to meet with your accountant or something, and then the elevator's stuck, and you're like, all right, fuck it.
Are you kidding me? If I touch her, she'll be like, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
Immediately. She's like, don't even think about it. And I'm like, oh, there's no camera. She's like, yes, there are. I'm like, no, they're on. Just right there. So,
parking lot. I mean, again, that's just in a car. Like,
yeah.
I don't that. On a roof or a roof deck. All right, I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Public park or on a hike.
That's a little rapey. It's a little rapey, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's one of those things where you bring a picnic blanket and you're like, well, we're here.
Viable. But yeah, I think rule number 1 is definitely don't have sex with anyone that you're not getting married to.
In the desert, sure. I'll give you that one.
Maybe.
At night.
No. Don't do that. You get a scorpion on your taint. Don't do that.
Yeah. In an airplane, but not the airplane bathroom. No.
That sounds like the Emirates where they have like a private bedroom, and then you know, some guys in economy and just wakes up. He's like, "Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Would you be landing?" He's like, "What's that clapping sound?" You're like, "Sir."
Says virtually on the internet, not in public, guys. That's not public.
It is if it's a library.
Okay, sure. Speaking of library, that's number 20 in the stacks of the library. Sure.
That's hot.
Yeah, it is.
Especially if it's the librarian. Very
in an old high school or college classroom or lecture hall. Okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, but then you can get on a list depending on who's around. It's not safe.
I feel like if it's college, you're fine. That's
probably. The one kid who's like, I'm in Mensa. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Abandoned buildings. Okay.
That's how you get herpes.
On a balcony, doesn't that what the roof counts as or whatever?
Depends on if there's a glass
Yeah.
balcony or if it's covered. Fair question.
On a horse and buggy ride?
Absolutely not. Those
Yeah,
guys are perverts, and the horses fart. The horses fart relentlessly.
Yeah, that's what happens when you give the horse beefarino. And
it's really what happens when you give anyone beefarino.
Let's see. In the bathroom of a bakery or other restaurant. Okay.
Food? No. You know
that was terrible. All of that was terrible.
It's terrible. So I think, listen, definitely prank everyone. The misdirect is important. Possibly, hey, I ordered you guys all vegetarian meals. Suck it. And then as well, don't put your wiener in anyone but your new wife. Good advice.
Noted. Good advice. All right. Well, I guess for the comment section or people listening, what is the craziest thing that you have done at a wedding, either as the bride and groom or as a guest?
Yeah, 100%.
Leave that in that comment box down below there, or leave a like because it is helpful. Tell your friends or find us at Generation Dan on Twitter or Instagram. And then how about you, good sir?
Dino the Genetic Marvel. I am trying to continue to lose weight, but I think I'm going to take a couple days off because we're just trying to relax, and I think I just need to get healthier. Phone died. God, John, you're going through it. You're going through it.
The whole episode. It'll be up on Thursday. You're welcome.
And for anyone wanting the link to his YouTube, his story that was read out on YouTube is at minute 125 in the comments. So, or an hour 1:25 p.m. my time. So it'd be like 25 minutes into the show, ish.
Yeah, about.
So, but yeah. Follow me. I'm also doing a cooking show with Cole. He has just mentioned that he wants to do a turducken for American Thanksgiving. I'm like, that's insane, but who knows? It might be like the Yule log for Christmas, but it'll be like a turducken cooking for like 4 hours.
You guys aren't kidding. You're actually going for the turducken.
Possibly. Yeah. I'm like, that's a ridiculous amount of food, but why not? So
see, in his head, I thought it was a turducken was when you like fuck a turkey or something. Like I was half expecting to think that.
Yes, it's cold, so that's fair. Yeah. But that show is Tuesdays at 6:30 ish, and face orange biting nails. You got this. There you go. Thank you, John, and everyone. In the meantime, yeah.
Oh, and then find me at Atlas Novak, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or the YouTube channel. The Epileptic Comic. I'm currently working on a parody of My Shiny Teeth and Me from the Fairly Odd Parents, but it's about like how shitty my brain is and tries to kill me. Turducken to bust.
I've seen it. I'm like, my interest is peaked. I just don't know I have the skills to execute. But
or you can follow my other podcast at Nexus at Night, which is about the trading card game Vanguard. There we go. Glare off. So thanks everybody for listening, and have a good one. See you next time.
Later.